Hi, and a good Thursday evening to you. I hope you're all looking forward to a fun Halloween weekend. I'm Victoria Weather Meteorologist Ryan Henning. I'm here with a look at Bloomington, Illinois for the Halloween forecast and, well, Friday night leading up to it, because I'm sure plenty of you are going to find a way to be out on the town Friday and Saturday night. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what's going on in central Illinois. It's about 2 hours, I think, south of Chicago. It's right about there. How about that? How about a little visual instead of me trying to describe where one town and another state is? We can see the circulation up here moving through Quebec up the St. Lawrence Seaway, along with these very light colored clouds. This is all the moisture that was associated with Patricia. It merged with the low that was moving through the Midwest. So this energy is really more associated with the system that moved through Canada and the plains, but all the moisture was dragged from the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico as Patricia moved through the East Coast. And behind it, we have just a broad field of stratiform clouds. This is the infrared imagery, so the brighter whites indicate colder temperatures, which are usually found with higher top clouds, which again usually means heavier rain. So when you see thunderstorms show up on here, they're bright white because those cloud tops, they breach the tropopause, and they're some of the highest cloud tops that we have, and it's negative 30 to 50 degrees where those clouds reach, so it's very cold, so they show up very bright white. The problem we're seeing here, and this should be kind of an indication of what's going on in the Midwest and the plains, you can see from western North Dakota through Nebraska into Missouri, it's all clear, but then the sun sets, and then suddenly you don't have this dividing line in the clouds through the plains, and that's because the infrared satellite is picking up on the ground, which is also cold, and it's registering that as a cloud top, just like the cloud tops around the Great Lakes and central Illinois. So you can see how far that issue is building to the south into central Missouri. So these clouds are actually going to help the Bloomington area stay a little bit warmer, because if it was clearer, a lot of that warm, or relatively warm air it's called radiate, and that means it's just going to be lost to outer space. And you can see it's 45 degrees and mostly cloudy. It's almost 50 in Peoria, where it is overcast as well. And if it was any clearer, they'd probably be in the low 40s to maybe even the upper 30s. That system, when it moved through, particularly Minnesota and Wisconsin, it did bring about a little bit of snow. So there's a lot of cold air with it in association with that moisture, or as well as that moisture, I suppose. So the cold air is there, and the clouds they're really helping out tonight. And it's not going to get much cooler than this. The dew points are in the 40s, and that's usually where temperatures kind of have their hard stop. They're going to drop off for the night. So it looks like it's going to stay in the 40s. No threat of a freeze really in Bloomington, unless by some miracle all those low-lying clouds shift out of there. We're going to look at the models now, and we can see this big H, that's high pressure, building in behind this massive complex that's moving out towards the North Atlantic. GFS and NAM are mostly in tune, so we'll just ride with the GFS because it goes out further into the future. You can see there's a trough here, and basically what I'm saying is there's a little dimple within the ridge, and as long as that's there, there's probably going to be those continued stratus, that overcast over the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. And fortunately, eventually by tomorrow morning, it's going to clear out. So that's going to keep things fairly warm overnight tonight. And then the sun's going to break out, and tomorrow's Friday. Friday looks like it's going to be pretty good in central Illinois. We're going to want to keep an eye on this system in the far southern plains, though, especially this plume of moisture. And the good news, I guess, with that is that it is a warm front. So we could see this arm of an upper level trough. It's a jet, and when it's strong like this, and the darker colors mean stronger, and even the pinks mean it's very strong. that means there's a strong temperature gradient, and when it's going from southwest to northeast like this, that is a good sign that there's a warm front. So the warm front is going to be like right through here. So there's Bloomington. It's just going to be on the north end of it probably, and it's going to continue to lift to the north. And voila, there is going to be rain. And unfortunately, that rain is going to get there just before sunrise on Halloween Day. And it looks like it's going to be a fairly rainy day. If I could stay in the right imagery there. It's going to be a fairly rainy day on Halloween before it starts to break out. The good news is a jet is going to develop through, well, kind of along the Canadian border, and it's going to stem the tide of cold air behind this system. So there's not going to be that cold infusion as this stronger jet shifts out of town. So it's not going to cool off significantly. It's just going to dry out, and that's good news for Illinois. As October rolls into November, it's not going to be a very cold start. It's just going to be a rainy end to Halloween. I'm going to look at the 0Z time frame on Halloween night, just because that's about the time that most kids are going to be out trick-or-treating. The NAM is very pessimistic. It still has some rain lingering, but the GFS, which again is the model that we were looking at more closely, is a little bit drier. So we're going to hope for that. We're just going to hope for a little bit of drizzle. Maybe if you've got a more delicate costume or a lot of makeup, that could be a problem if you're out trick-or-treating. But, throw a jacket on the kids. The fairy princesses should be fine. The Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers or whatever the kids are dressing up as, those full costumes, they should be all right. It's just, if you're really getting made up and is a zombie or monster or something else, that might be an issue. But I wouldn't cancel trick-or-treating, that's for sure. It seems like it should be okay for most kids out there. The temperatures, there's no meteogram, so I can't show you graphically what it's going to look like. But the temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 50s both days, and lows should be in the 40s. And really, if the sun can break out, if it doesn't rain as much, especially on Halloween, there's a shot at 60 in Bloomington's future. But I think really the primary treat you're going to get on Halloween is going to be in those bags of candy that the kids go out and get, because the weather, it doesn't look great. But there should be a break in the action for everybody to get out and go trick-or-treating. But have a good weekend and have a happy Halloween. I am Victoria weather meteorologist Ryan Henning.